Mufaro wedu kuva nemi pano pa Destiny TV pachirongwa My Stories. Tarangu ndinonzi Stella Musha. Muchirongwa chino tinokuunzirai vanhu vane nyaya dzavakararama, dzavari kurarama. Nhasi uno mu studio tina Hilton Mudariki. Vanhu vese vakanzwa zita rekuti Hilton Mudariki vari kubva vaziva kuti ane zvaakaitira nyika. Kuna vasiri kuziva kuti what is it Hilton is representing?
Hilton represents the Sables and the captain of Zimbabwe Sables rugby team. And takabva ku Uganda where we qualified for the Rugby World Cup in 2027.
World Cup?
Yeah, World Cup.
Zvekuti munenge muriko ku World Cup tichitona pakatonyorwa Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe ninge iriko yeah.
And you are the captain.
And I'm the captain. Yes.
Now let's hear. Hilton akakurira kupi, akaenda chikoro chipi, kuzosvika tizoti nasuno tina Hilton, the captain we rugby team.
Hilton akakurira muno muHarare. I attended Heritage School from grade 1 to grade 5. From there, ndakazomova kuenda ku St. John's Prep School, where I did my grade 6 and grade 7. Through conversations we then decided to go to South Africa for my high schooling because I wanted to pursue a career in sport, and we thought moving to South Africa would give me the best chance to be able to do that, to get the best coaching and to attend one of the best sporting schools in the country. So I moved and I to South Africa, where I spent 6 years there doing my high schooling, where I excelled in both cricket and rugby. I always was fighting between the two, but I always knew I wanted to be a professional sportsman. Panigazopedza matric in 2010, that's when I then decided to tamba rugby. And then that's where my rugby career took off.
So when did you start kutamba rugby? Because tinonzwa Kesti ainzi iye akaiswa mu swimming pool when she was 6 months old.
Yeah.
When did it start for you?
And then I started playing rugby when I was 5 years old. But when I attended Heritage, I didn't know the sport. There was no rugby background, mu family edu. But I just picked up the sport through playing with friends that I'd made at school. So that's when I started playing rugby.
We've got vamwe vabereki vekuti vakaona mwana achiita, because isusu takura chinzi iri dangerous. Chinzi unotyorwa ikoko. Your parents supported you?
My parents supported me. They never missed a match. They were always there. Even to this day, mama no travel vachiyazotuna where whenever she can to come and watch us play and support us. So they always supported us, but education was still important. That was always and you're my director now. But as long as you study, you get your studies, we'll support you in your dreams. So we're very lucky and blessed to have parents that supported us in our journey.
Did you ever come home with broken bones?
Yes, I have. I remember the first bone that I ever broke was my arm. And I think I was maybe grade 4, grade 3, grade 4. So I broke my arm. I played the whole game with a broken arm, and I didn't realize my arm was broken.
How were you dealing with the pain?
Yeah, it was, but I think adrenaline just kept me going. After game, nobody got something wrong. Takazenda ku avenues and they told my x-rays. I need to find out that my arm was broken. And that was the first cast that I ever had. But I've been very lucky throughout my career. But I haven't really had serious injuries. There've been injuries as you would expect, no tab, but not very serious.
Growing up, we thought kuti rugby no tamba ne mamonya.
Yeah.
But looking at you, you're not that very big. I can see that you're fit, but not that very big. What made you go to sport yaida like mamonya?
I think rugby is a sport which it accommodates everyone. It accommodates big people, it accommodates small people, tall people, short people. It's a game for all shapes and sizes. I think what drew me to the game was just the excitement. Yeah, just playing against each other, an opportunity to be physically to be in a physical contact game within the rules. Obviously, my game I shouldn't my rules, but in terms of just letting everything out, it allowed you to do that. But obviously, in a space where you had to follow rules, taught me discipline, a lot of discipline, because as I said to you, I moved to South Africa when I was about 13 years old. And when I moved there, I always had to prove to people that I'm good enough because I was just a young boy, in Zimbabwe, no reputation. So I always had to fight for my position in the team, where some guys might have got it easier. And then I always had to fight, and that taught me discipline, which I still carry throughout my life today.
Can you share with us whatever happened in South Africa that you'd say, when I was in South Africa, there was a time I said, either I made a good move or, goodness me, I should have stayed home.
I know that the very first week was the week where I was like, why did I even make this decision to come here? I had never been a boarder. I had never been away from home for a long time. I was 13. So that was a very tough, I'd say 2 weeks for me. And I went there with my best friend, Tangatiteso Chikoro St. John's. And he almost persuaded me to go to South Africa. And we went there together. He only lasted 1 week and then left the school, came back to Zim. Saka ndakasara ikoko nditendeka vabereki vangu vakati aiwa iwe ndiwakati uda kuenda ikoko saka uchagara ikoko. And to this day, that's the best decision I've ever made in my life, staying at that school. The amount of opportunities it's given me, the doors that it's opened for me, you'll never believe it. So, and I'm so grateful to vabereki vangu vakati chigara ikoko.
Okay, let's go. Isn't that you told them that, hey, I want to come home?
I want to come home. My mom was close to saying, okay, it's fine. But my dad was like, no, you made that decision.
You made your bed.
Exactly. And also, I think what swayed me to stay there or to push on was because all my friends from St. John's, St. John's High School. And my dad said, St. George's. That's the deal. I was going to St. John's. So now for me to go to St. John's where my friends are not there and the rivalry that there is between the two schools, and I know what, it's better with and like I said, best decision that I ever made.
Where is this friend of yours? He almost persuaded you to go south.
Yeah.
And then you went together. After a week, he said, man, I'm out of here. Where is he now?
And you know what's crazy about that is probably 2 years later, he moved back to South Africa with his family, and he went to another school that was a school that we used to play against. We actually ended up playing sport against each other right up until matric. So it was funny that he came back here for a year, and then his family moved to South Africa, and then so we ended up there in South Africa.
You are talking about your career improving so much when you went to South Africa. How is it like back home? Like now, if I have a son or if there's a young man out there who's saying, you know what, this is what I want to do, but they don't have that opportunity to go outside.
Yeah, no, the competition here is good. I think it's definitely improving. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done, especially our grassroots level, where from like another 5, 6, 7 years old, there's so much more work that can be done there. I believe that the reason why other countries are doing a lot better than us is because they start earlier. Their kids start earlier. So you'll find kuti a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old, out to club trainings over the weekends, on a Sunday, on a Saturday morning, whatever it is, and they're already playing. So they're already learning the game. Whereas we start later, you'll pick up the game later. Maybe towards maybe grade 6, grade 7, or even Form 1. That's when you start picking up the sport. And I believe that that's too late because someone who started at 5 has already got a head start over you. So I believe that if we can get our kids to start early, and it's not just rugby, I think all sports in general, if we can get grassroots sport done really well in this country, I believe that we'll excel and we'll see a lot of our kids doing really, really well.
Can we say that this is an elite sport? Because we rarely hear of rugby ku primary school or ku Highfield.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I think it's always been seen as that. I think it's always been seen as an elite sport, but I think we're slowly starting to get away from that. If you look at the national team right now, the squad, a lot of the guys are not coming from your A-list schools. They're coming from your government schools. They're coming from the ghetto, which shows that the game is slowly starting to grow and it's slowly starting to get, it's slowly starting to spread within the whole country. But like I said, there's still more that needs to be done. I think through the union, through sponsorship, we can spread the game even more, because there's so many talented rugby players that we don't know of yet because they just haven't got an opportunity. And I believe, Kuti, if we open it up to everyone, and we can continue to open it up to everyone, we'll pick the next stars that will represent our country and do very well for us.
Before we started the interview, we were talking about like football being one of the cheapest sports because it's just one ball, and we have 22 boys chasing it. What is it that needs to be done, especially for rugby to be like in the ghetto places? Because we know that we've got a lot of football pitch and any open space, they can start kicking the ball.
Yeah. I think rugby is pretty much the same. I think where rugby kind of differs is the rules. You have to learn a lot of rules in order to grasp the game, but they've made the game so simple. So you get the proper rules of rugby, but they've simplified it to accommodate people that are learning the game. So they learn the game through these basic rules, and then obviously by the time they get to our level where you have so many rules, you kind of know what's going on. But this is like, as I said, a work in progress. It's something that continuously needs to be practiced in order for people to grasp the game. But like football, rugby, you just need one ball, and you need a pair of boots, just like football, and an open field, and you can play. I mean, rugby was invented by a guy called William Webb Ellis, who picked up a soccer ball and he ran with it. That's how rugby started.
Okay.
That's how rugby started.
How did you know that?
He literally picked up, they were playing football, he picked it up and he started running, and then that's how the game started.
Wow, interesting. Okay. We have seen a lot of people that when they go outside and they excel in other countries, they then change citizenship. They start saying, what made you come back home?
I think for me, I went to South Africa with the idea of playing sport for South Africa. That's what I had told myself in my head. And I did well. I made the provincial teams. I captained the provincial teams. So I was doing very well. But then there are so many people. There's so much competition in that country. I always had a soft spot for Zimbabwe, even though I hardly lived here. I always had a soft spot for Zimbabwe because every holiday would come back. All my friends were still here. And then I remember in must have been about 2012, after I finished in South Africa, after my high schooling, I did 2 years in South Africa. So 2013, I moved to the UK to try and pursue the dream there. I got a call from the Zimbabwe Sevens team manager, and he had heard about me. I'm not sure where he'd heard about me from. And the team was in the UK playing there. And he said, no, we want to invite you to come and train. So I went there, started training, I started enjoying. And I said, you know what, I actually maybe want to try and make this team, because I did pretty well in that week that I trained. Fast forward a couple of months later, I got invited into camp. They flew me in from the UK, went into camp, and that's where my Zimbabwe rugby journey kicked off. Played for the Sevens, then learnt about the Sables. Then I got called up to the Sables camp, and then I also made my Sables debut in the very same year. So that's what brought me back. And then obviously spending time within the team, but also being based outside the country and pursuing my dream and playing professionally, I wanted to give back, because I then realized that without this country, I never would have gotten to where I did get to. And I always wanted to give back. And by the time I came back to living in Zim, things started improving for the Sables. We had sponsors coming in, the coaching was good. So things were starting to look up, and that's why I wanted to be involved within Zimbabwe Rugby and help the team to qualify for the World Cup.
You talked about your brother, that he also plays rugby.
Yes.
Are you the one who inspired him? When did he also start?
Yeah, I remember we had so many fights in the backyard over sport. So he was always a little bit bigger than me. Growing up, I was bigger than him, so I used to bully him a lot in the backyard. But that's where we learned how to play sport. We literally learned in the backyard. We'd train each other, coach each other, and that's how our bond started. But now he's bigger than me, so he definitely bullies me now. But yeah, that's how we started, and he's had a great career. Unfortunately, he's had a lot of injuries, over the last couple of years, but he's in a good space right now, and he's playing in France, and he's also involved with the Sables. So yeah, it's for me, my greatest achievement in rugby. People can say qualifying for a World Cup, definitely, that's definitely up there. But to play alongside my brother, there's nothing that beats that. To stand next to my brother and sing the national anthem, and knowing that my brother's there next to me, nothing beats that. That's definitely the greatest achievement of my rugby career.
Talked about your mother coming to see you play, and your father.
My dad is around. Growing up, we actually didn't have a strong relationship. After my parents split up when I was about 15. So we didn't have a very strong relationship, but our relationship over the last year or so has actually improved so much. I think we've definitely been working on that, and for me, it's awesome because he gets to be a part of all my achievements. Everything that I'm doing now, he's a part of it. He's watched us win the Africa Cup. He's watched us qualify for a World Cup, and to have both my parents a part of my journey, even though a lot was missed throughout this very moment, for me, it's an awesome feeling.
For some people who just think that rugby is about picking the ball and running with it, what is it that is involved in rugby? Hours
and hours and hours of hard work. I think as fans, the fans see what happens. The fans see the finished product. On a Saturday at 3:00, they come and watch the Sables, and that's what they see. They don't see what happens from a Sunday before the game, so Sunday after the game, into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday as you prepare. They don't see the hours of hard work that's put in. Field sessions, gym sessions, team meetings. It takes up a lot, and then you also have to do your own stuff to make sure that you recover properly, make sure that you're eating properly, make sure that you're stretching, making sure that you're doing every little thing that you possibly can do to make sure that you're in a good space for Saturday's game. So there's a lot that goes into it, a lot of behind the scenes things that people don't see.
We have seen some people who had promising careers, but at the end, something just went wrong. Tell me the role of discipline when it comes to sport.
Discipline's massive. For me, it's the most important thing in sport, and it's something that I try and drive within the team to make sure that we're disciplined in everything that we do, whether it's a training, whether it's a team meetings, making sure that you arrive on time, making sure that you are where you need to be, even dress code, making sure that you're dressed appropriately or in a specific thing that you're told to dress in. Those little things, not just in rugby, but in life, are so important. So what we learn in rugby is things that we apply in our daily lives. And that's why I believe rugby is a great sport. It teaches you discipline that you're not only using on the field, but you're using in your day-to-day life. So discipline is very, very important.
We have heard of some people who had also promising careers, but in the end, you heard about them taking drugs and all that. What pushes people to take drugs, and the advice that you can give to those who may be saying, okay, I think I can enhance my career by taking these?
Yeah, I think it's pressure, and we've definitely seen it throughout. Where teammates are taking illegal substances, drugs. I think peer pressure is a big thing. Seen players that are injured and are trying to rush the process, are told, hey, listen, if you take this or do this, you'll speed up your recovery, but then you end up getting tested, you get caught, you get banned, and then you can't play the sport that you love. So it's so important that you go through the right channels, and it's something that's been drilled into us every single time. We're lucky we have physios in our team and team doctors who are constantly on our cases with regards to what we take. Even if you have a headache, whatever you put into yourself, you're responsible for it. So we are being pushed to be so careful in terms of what we're taking. And I think also, if you know that one of your teammates are doing something or are taking something, people will say it's snitching and you're telling on, but you're actually helping them out, because for me, rugby is a short career, a very, very short career. You can push yourself to take something that might damage you in the long term, right? Rugby might last, 5-10 years, then you're done. then you still have a whole life to live, but you've taken these substances and it damages you. So it's a big problem at the moment in sport, and I think just in general life, drugs and substance abuse, and it's something that definitely needs to be tackled. And we need to make sure that we are setting the right example as Sables, as the Chevrons, as the Warriors, to the younger guys that look up to us, so that they know that they don't have to take these things, or there's another way out to make your life better.
You talked about rugby being a short career. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Hopefully at the World Cup in a couple of years' time. Fingers crossed, and God willing that I'll be able to get there. But I definitely want to give back in some sort of way, whether it's through administration, through consultancy. I don't see myself as a full-time coach. I don't have the patience. So something along the lines of administration or just consulting, just coming in and helping out. But I definitely want to give back. That's something that I'm like super proud of, something that I've been working on. I've got a foundation at the moment that we help disadvantaged kids in little things that they need help with, whether it's food, whether it's clothing, sport, rugby clinics. Those kinds of things are something that we've been working on over the last couple of years. So I definitely want to grow my foundation and give a lot back, especially because of the platform that I've been given. I believe that I can do so much to help people's lives and careers. And then yeah, definitely when I have a family, that's something that I definitely want in a couple of years' time. And yeah, that's kind of where I see myself in a few years' time.
When you do have a kid, when will you give him the ball?
As soon as he can hold on to anything, you're definitely giving him a ball. No, to be honest, I've always said this, and it's a conversation that I had with my mom and my girlfriend as well. I don't want to push rugby onto my kids. I want them to be able to choose what they want to do. Similar to how I grew up. Yeah, my parents weren't very sporty, but they allowed us to try different sports. They used to take us to soccer, to hockey, to tennis, to rugby, to cricket. And then we kind of chose our own path. You weren't told that, no, you must play soccer or you must play hockey. We kind of chose our own path, and that's what I would definitely like my children to also do.
We see that you are a recipient of the Zimbabwe Achievers Awards. Yeah. How does it feel?
It's amazing. It's something that I did not expect, and I'm so grateful to the Zimbabwe Achievers Board for giving me this award. But in saying that, I definitely would not have been able to do it without my teammates. I'm so grateful for my teammates. This whole journey started a few years ago, where we decided this is what we want to do. We want to make the country proud again. We want to put rugby on the map again. And we managed to do that, through hard work, through sacrifice, through determination. And we went into that tournament saying, with the motto of putting smiles on people's faces again. And coming back to Zimbabwe and seeing the smile, seeing everyone happy and joyful. Whilst we're still in Uganda, receiving videos of people in watching our game, rejoicing and being happy. That's what makes us happy, and that's why we play this game. So this award, I'm truly grateful for it, but I definitely want to dedicate it to the whole Sables team, players and staff.
Now talk to me about the very first time that you held a trophy. How was it like?
Even my life, or one of these Africa Cup ones?
In your life.
In my life.
The very first trophy.
When was that? Probably when I was in grade 5. I think I won the player of the tournament for this night series that we used to play. It felt good. It felt great. But as I said, for me, rugby is a team sport, and you cannot shine without the team. So I'm so grateful for the teammates that I've had past and present that have allowed me to be able to hold a trophy, because without them that would never have been possible.
You talked about the need for children to start like rugby at a very early stage. We know in the upmarket, they can join clubs because there are rugby clubs there. What can be done for the youth or the children in the ghetto?
Yeah, I think that's a very big job for our union in order to spread the game. We need to be sending people out, or they need to be sending people out rather, to spread the game, to teach kids out there. But I think it's also us as players that need to get out there and also try and inspire the kids and speak to them about this game called rugby and how it can change people's lives. As I said earlier, there are a couple of boys that come from the ghetto. So they're quite known within those areas. So using them almost as ambassadors to spread the game, for us to go in there and help as much as possible. You know, when we came back from Uganda, we did a trophy tour throughout Harare. And, you know, we went to the ghetto. A lot of the kids probably didn't understand the game, but you could see the enthusiasm, you could see the happiness in their faces that, you know, we had taken time out as the Sables to come there and present the trophy to them, and they were very happy about that. And, you know, it's crazy to know that a couple of balls were left there, a couple of jerseys were left there. So now they have some sort of thing to put rugby towards. You know, whether it's a T-shirt, whether it's a ball, whatever it is, to say, oh, there's a sport in this team that came, and maybe that might grow the interest for them to want to learn more about the sport, because the sport definitely opens doors for a lot of people. We've seen a lot of people that come out of the ghetto that have done very well for the Sables and have gone on to greater heights.
Now, come to think of it, we are talking about the ghetto. Some of them are already exposed. We are talking of people like from Chiendambuya there.
Yeah.
Do you think there is need for the Ministry of Education to say at every school, in primary level, there is that introduction to rugby?
I definitely think so. Because I believe we're missing gems of rugby players that we don't even know are there. There's so many people throughout the world with amazing stories that literally learned the game of rugby within a short space of time, and they've become superstars. And we might be missing out on quite a few rugby players that we don't know about, but they just need to be given an opportunity and a chance to learn the game, to play the game. And you know, we might have the next superstars that are going to take our country and our rugby to greater heights.
We have talked about you conquering. Like now, we are looking at the World Cup.
Yeah.
We are definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Tell us about the times when we have lost. Have you ever cried?
Yeah, definitely. I think the last qualifiers, so before this one, so 2022 qualifiers, we went into this tournament believing that we were going to qualify. Our preparations had been the best that they've ever been in my whole time within the Sables. Financially, we're being backed. We had sponsors on board. We spent 3 months in South Africa in a camp where things worked so well. Our qualifiers were in France, and we lost to Namibia in the semi-finals. And that was probably my hardest day ever in rugby, because we believed so much that was the year. I couldn't hold the tears back.
You actually cried.
I did cry. I wanted to call a time in my career. I wanted to give up because that was it for me. I did not feel that drive anymore, because that year was meant to be the year. Luckily, I came back. Obviously, after everything had happened, took some time to reflect. A new coach was brought in, and he persuaded me to stay for a little bit longer. And I'm so glad that I listened to him and I stayed longer. But yeah, that was probably one of the darkest days in my rugby career. Just knowing that we had let so many people down, sponsors that had put so much time and effort into making it the perfect preparation, fans who expected so much from us, and we could not deliver. And I was the captain, and I put everything on my shoulders and blame myself for that loss, because as the captain, I should have taken the team through to something that we had not experienced since 1991.
Now coming to that, how heavy is this cap of being a captain?
No, it's huge. It's very heavy, because obviously team performance a little bit relies on you, but your own personal performance, you need to be playing well. you can't just be a captain and not play well. You know, a team is always picked first, then the captain is picked after that. So if I'm not performing, I'm not going to be in the team, which doesn't allow me to captain the team. So knowing that I need to be on top of my game every single time does put a little bit of pressure on me. When the team's not doing well, it puts a lot of pressure on me. But I think over the years, I've learned that you can spread leadership within the team. I think before I always put everything on myself, but now I've got such a great leadership team that I can bounce off, that allow a bit of pressure to be taken away from me. So whether it's dealing with something, maybe it's talking to some guys or dealing in talking in a meeting, whatever it is, I've got guys that I can assign and say, okay, listen, today I want you to lead the team session or whatever it might be. And they do a great job of that. So it allows me to also focus on my game and make sure that I play the best that I can play. So it does come with a lot, especially going into this tournament. You know, after winning last year, we were expected to go to Africa Cup, win and qualify for the World Cup. And I'm just so grateful that we managed to do that.
We know that for you to gain something, you will have to give up on something. What is it that you can say that, you know what, I had to give up on this for me to be where I am today?
I think it's, as a sportsman, time away from friends, time away from family is always the biggest thing. Those are the sacrifices that we have to make. I mean, before this qualifier, we had to be in camp for 4 or 5 weeks, and then you go away for another 3 weeks. So you're away from family, you're away from your friends. You know, your friends could be doing something over the weekend, but you can't join them because, you know, you need to be putting in those extra hours of training. So it's always tough in that sense that you need to sacrifice something, but, you know, the sacrifices are always worth it. They're always worth it. For us to be where we are, to get to where we are, to achieve what we've achieved, the sacrifices are definitely worth it.
You also talked about rugby opening doors for you. What are some of the things you'd say, you know what, I am or I have achieved this and this because of rugby?
For me, one of the biggest things is probably the network that I've created, the people that I've met through the sport. It's allowed me to travel the world. It's allowed me to meet different people, influential people that have contributed and helped me develop as a human being away from rugby itself. So those are the biggest things that I have, that I've achieved or that I have picked up from rugby. For example, you know, I'm very blessed to have become a brand ambassador for Mitsubishi through Zimbabwe. That's a partnership that started because of rugby. You know, attending an event and meeting people, talking to people, that allowed me, and it's allowed doors to open for me to become this. And yeah, just people that I've met, contacts that I've made throughout the years have definitely opened doors.
It was good having you on the show. What is it that you would like to say as your parting words?
I think for me, I just want to encourage every boy, girl out there to follow your dreams, to work hard. The sky's the limit. If you put your mind towards something, you can achieve it. So I'm super lucky that, you know, I set my mind on something when I was very young. This is what I wanted to do, and I've been lucky enough to achieve it. And I know that if I can do that, every boy and girl out there in Zimbabwe can definitely do that. So work hard and push to achieve your goals.
Atei panamba dziri kubuda pachivhitivhiti uye tobva tati makorokoto kuna Hilton. Award yakapiwa neZimbabwe Achievers Award. Iyo yaati haisi yake chete nekuda kwekuti rugby mutambo unotambwa nechikwata. Saka award iyoyi is also dedicating it to his team. Tisangane zvakare svondo rinouya.